Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning. Uh, yeah, Cebu is the land where I know you're celebrating 500 years of next year, but where our Lapu-Lapu successfully resisted the invaders. That's my take on the. Anyway, okay. The opening invitation asked me to do an opening convocation. Sounds like a big word. Um, for making futures. And well, wow. Pilar said maybe it would be an opening provocation. Let's see where we go today. Okay, making futures. Yesterday I said making futures. I thought futures just happened. At least as an artist, that's the way I operate. My films, I make films without scripts, and my installation art and my attempts at architecture without blueprints. They just happen and they just organically are crafted. So let me see, as an artist, how I can pull you together or provoke you or convoke you, whatever the word is, um, into the world of crafting. What happened? Okay. And it's only in the last 72 hours that I began to understand Malcolm's concept uh, of making futures. And I can see that it's trying to get together craft as a social, or look at craft as a social change. No? Let's frame craft as an agent of social change. And I read here, through the development of small scale, locally embedded, and globally aware creative enterprises. Okay, I think this stems from a strong reaction or desire to get away from global mainstream economic models, or maybe we can't get away from them, but at least and it says, if I can quote Malcolm, incorporating cradle to cradle design and make strategies that, like, recycling, upcycling, sharing, make and mend to confront the throwaway culture. Okay, I grew up in Baguio. Baguio is a hill station which the Americans created when they colonized the country, and it's right in the middle of indigenous tribal lands, where up to today, craft is still a strong modus operandi. Where, okay, although of course there have been a lot of planned development by our Western trained policymakers who have introduced things like the assembly line, Charlie Chaplin with his reflex. But there's still a lot of, well, if you can call it round table crafting, which you'll probably see in my film, through the lens of what Malcolm calls the cosmopolitan localism. It's a nice word, Malcolm. If I can put in Filipino words, well, he says practicing interconnectedness. Or in Filipino, kaugnayan. Everything's connected. You know that song of Joey Ala? Lahat ay magkaugnay. Everything is connected. Yeah, okay. The interconnectedness of social, political, and economic systems, and with Mother Nature as a starting point. Okay. I know that opening speakers are usually, to set the tone of the conference, are usually policymakers or academic PhDs. But today, since your opening speaker is a kind of a crazy artist, let me see if I can connect you to the world of crafting as I grew up in, and as I have come to advocate in my 40 years as a filmmaker. I'll offer you today a some kind of a smorgasbord or buffet of visual sequences, like at best I can call them a collage of uh, visual bites that have included indigenous craft makers. These craft makers who did everything kind of holistically, in contrast to today's segmented, uh, in your little corner kind of assembly line rituals. Um, these are people who their production is connected with their daily family life, their rituals of daily living, their connectedness with the spirit and nature worlds. Yeah. So craft producers were not just merely making consumption items, but their craft products were a part of their life. So let me start with a film. Okay, I did, let's say, a film that I crafted during 35 years. That's why no movie producer will engage me for a project. It's about the slave of Magellan, who's, who arrived 500 years ago. But in fact, the slave of Magellan, who accompanied him on that voyage, may have been the first person to circumnavigate the globe, um, because Magellan died here in Mactan and never made his. He lacked 1% more of his round the world trip. But that's another story. Anyway, I like to use this as an opening thing because Enrique de Malacca, the slave of Magellan, was in my film a craftsman. He was a wood carver. And let's just see how he integrates his products with his life. And now, having completed his requirements for a PhD in blockbuster filmmaking, in blockbuster crafting, the University of Hollywood hereby confers his PhD, summa cum laude, to Kidlat Tahimik. After 20 years, my passport to my livelihood. Now my mother can stop planting rice in the fields of Hapao, and we can start a livelihood in the sea. We'll create livelihood. There'll be higher per capita incomes. And guess what? Guess what? University of Hollywood, besides giving me this diploma, has found financing for my dissertation script, Sex in the Terraces. Okay, Mama! Take me home! Hello, Mama! Ah, the green rice terraces of home have not changed. Yes, Mama, handog ko sa iyo my offering. We did not plant another stalk of rice, we did not harvest another. You can retire. You know, I learned all the tricks when I was there. Yes, you can do a ramble in the terraces. You don't know ramble? Come on, imagine. On top of our rice terraces, helicopters hovering over. And slowly, each green terrace, these modern terraces, slowly, slowly turning red, terrace by terrace. Hollywood ketchup. Why are you so sad? I said that when I left 20 years ago, that I would make films about the hood epic chants of the Ifugao, that I would make films about Inabian, the goddess of the wind, who taught us to have harmony with nature, that I would make films about Greek ancient engineers who built our rice terraces 3,000 years ago without a single cent of US aid. Who is going to buy tickets for those films? Well, maybe some of them. I have not lost touch with our culture. I have not touched with our beats. I still know it. I'm not totally lost from Hollywood. Pinalawang na ako. I'm rusty. I didn't have any goals in Hollywood. But anyway, concentrate. Focus. Breathe. Oh, it's coming back! Okay, let's forget about sex in the terraces. Let's forget about Godzilla and Rambo in the terraces. Let's do our own local films. I can get this button out. Let's do our own local films from our own local point of view. Wait a minute. How did we tell stories in the past without our modern Mitchell high-speed camera of Hollywood or the Bolio of France and the Ariflex of Germany? How did we tell stories without the Stony Flex? Huh? Apolopus Noyak. Oh, how did you pass on your stories to the next generation? Huh? We did it our own way. We crafted our stories with our own bamboo camera. Okay, forget about all those. We don't have to wait for the latest high-tech. Okay, tomorrow, we'll have auditions for our story about Inabian, the goddess of the wind. We'll do our own script. Yes, goddess of the wind of Bingo, fighting the goddess of the wind of Hollywood. Stay away, Hollywood. Let our own stories be crafted by our own filmmakers. We're tired of your Harvey Weinstein stories. We're tired of all your own sex and crime stories. Yes, tomorrow we can do this. And who will play the role of Inabian, goddess of the wind? At our auditions? Clara, come tomorrow. Okay, come tomorrow. Wear your people now toppies and come topless. And who will play? You can on. Malcolm, come tomorrow. I'll teach you how to tie your G-string, okay? Okay, mabuhay ang ating mga local stories. Making futures with our local stories.